the first issue of the Dollhouse family, the newest Hill House and Black Label book. This is Mike Carey writing with Peter Gross on the art. And, you know, I knew it was a Dollhouse, obviously, just because of the title, but I don't think I was expecting this to start with what looks like a celestial being landing on Earth.
Very much Lovecraftian.
Yes.
In that.
It's funny because this writer and artist did Lucifer together. And it shows, like, immediately I'm on this first page, I'm like, yep, this is them doing what they did on Lucifer.
So they're talking about this creature falls to Earth as Earth's almost forming, like primordial, right?
This is millions and millions. Actually, I will say, I called him a celestial because later on you get a sense of how big he actually is when someone's standing next to him. In the opening, I just thought it was a regular sized creature of some kind, you know?
Right.
Well,
and
there's no concept of scale at that point.
No, and so it's talking about, you know, coming here and everything was new, and then basically getting covered up as the planet grew around them, right? And then we get cuts to this family in England in 1979.
Yeah, it takes place over a couple of years because when we come back to them, it's 1981, then 1982. So it's a few years apart of these scenes that we get of this family. And it's kind of your typical thing, or not typical. This part's not typical, where this dollhouse arrives in the mail from some great uncle or aunt that the mum didn't even know she had. But hey, so the kid's got this dollhouse now.
Addressed to the daughter, not to the mom. Yeah. So
the main thing here, it's a bit tropey in a sense, but it's played out fairly well in that the dad's this drunk, aggressive asshole who's constantly annoyed that the wife is second guessing him or saying things in front of the daughter, and I think when we come back to them later, it's clear that he is hitting the wife as well. There's bruises.
He's abusive. Yeah. And that all he wants to do is destroy the dollhouse.
And this first scene,
he wants to sell it because he wants to get it valued. But you know, the mother's like, no, it was addressed to the daughter. She wants to keep it. Let's keep it. She can have a dollhouse if she wants.
Because he thinks it's an antique, so he's thinking he can get a nice bit of money for it. So basically, as it's going on, you're forgetting the celestial stuff, which we'll get to, which we come back to throughout the book, and the other stuff. Basically, so the dollhouse, all the characters in the dollhouse that she finds, all these little dolls, they all start speaking to her and coming to life, and it's like they're a real living, breathing little family inside the dollhouse. And eventually they shrink her down and have her in and send her back out, and she's back up again.
Saying a magic word or phrase. Yeah,
ultimately, what I was getting from here is sort of classic horror movie stuff where it's like, okay, the trauma of her home life and her dad, she's you know, let's say for a second that none of this is real. She's just doing this in her head to sort of escape her reality because her reality is so miserable. Now, don't get me wrong, I think it's real because we're doing all this flashback stuff's building to something that connects to this somehow, some way.
Yeah.
But like, it's very much no. This is something that's offering her an escape because of what her parents are going through, because she's worried about her mom. Right. And of course the ending does this nice nasty twist on it where the dollhouse family say, hey, there's this room in here, this black door, this black room, you can go in there. And basically she's offered this deal, if you become one of us and stay in the dollhouse, because we find out that everyone else who's here is not actually really related. They've all came here one by one.
And you assume through this same system.
Yeah, probably, yeah. And they offer, hey, like, we'll take care of your dad and make sure he can't hurt your mom if you agree to be here. And she says no, because that would leave her alone and that would make her sad. Right. But when she comes back out of the house, she grabs a hammer and bashes her dad in the back of the head, presumably killing him at the end of the book.
Right.
So, which, I'm not going to lie, that ending made me laugh in a really dark way.
Yeah. Because she's like, well, no, if the black room, because they tell her it only appears once, and then once you've made your decision, it won't show back up for you. Right,
but it tells her no. He is going to kill your mom if we don't stop him. Right,
and so she goes, all right, and she comes back out, right, of the dollhouse, and she does it herself, and like Pete said, it's comedically dark.
Yeah, it can play one of two ways, I think, here, just in one sense, and it's like either it's one to inspire the sinner, so this is kind of the intention of it, is to turn her dark and turn her into her sort of her darker desires, her violent tendencies, whatever. Or I actually like this. I mean, I like that fine, but I like this a little bit more. That it always tries to make this bargain, and it usually works. But this girl just thinks differently. Like, no, I'll just go kill him myself. I could do it myself.
That's how I read it too, Pete. She was like, "All right, well, I've seen this enough," because you can already tell. Like, she's talking to her mom. She's like, "Well, why don't we leave?" You know, and mom makes the excuses and whatnot. And so yeah, the girl's aware of all this, so she handled it. But there's flashback stuff to where her great great uncle that this all starts with is surveying Scotland in like the 1820s, and as they're surveying, him and his partner come across this cave, and he's like, "Well, this wasn't on the previous map, and something like this should have."
There's like a running gag that the previous surveyors were a bit shit, and they're like, "Well, they said there's a path here. Let's see if we can prove them wrong again."
Right, and so
no satellites back in these days to prove these things. You see,
right, and so they were the satellites. That's their job, and so they go into this cave and goes, Kent, the great great grandfather or whatever he is, uncle, goes, "Well, I'll just go in 100 paces," and then as you keep going, he keeps flashing back. Turns out that 100 paces became 3 days.
Yeah, he gets lost. System. Yeah, he gets lost and trapped down there. And it leads to another horror kind of... So he finds the Celestial. We see this being who's just sort of lying there dead, seemingly. Right. And there's like torches around him.
He's asleep.
Or he's asleep, yeah. But there's torches around him, and he's lying there, and you see how big he is, because he's huge. And what I love here is that this woman shows up and kind of just immediately seduces him and kind of forces herself upon him. And we get this kind of... It reminded me a lot of like horror movies. Like there's a scene in the first Howling like this, and there's definitely other scenes like this where, the mysterious woman who's kind of like forced this is kind of on top of him and kind of like, going like a wild banshee, and he's just kind of like lying there like in pleasure but also confused and kind of scared, and all these mix of different things.
It was really interesting how this was intercut with the sex scenes intercut with. The father and the daughter, him going, your mum and I have been through a bit of a rough patch, and then and then the next time it cuts back to him is him, threatening the wife again after he's obviously just hit her.
Yeah.
Right. And when he says, keep it going, you'll have more, and you're just like, damn man, this guy, terrible guy. But intermixed with that, you have that scene, but what I noticed was that the speech bubbles for whatever this woman is match the voice that's in the Dollhouse.
Yes, it's the black bubbles with the white text. Yeah,
it's the mirror, so to speak.
Yeah, and so whatever this was, right? So this is what led me on to some, a bit of research about Celtic mythology and whatnot, or Irish mythology, and I really can't find anything. Like the closest thing I can find is this Irish muse that basically she comes and finds a man and then inspires him to the point of madness to where he, burns out, right? Because, his art takes control, and it's this love is so intense that he ends up dying at a younger age, which is like one of those, you hear about artists, right? The 27 Club and whatnot. Other than that, I really can't find anything. So this might be something wholly new, but it also fits in with that, dark woman trope of mythology.
Yeah,
like a succubus or
it even makes me
vampire of some kind.
Yeah, vampire or succubus. It even makes me think a little bit of Species, which is an alien, but it's the same kind of thing where she's looking for a mate. Whereas this, although this doesn't feel like she's struggling, this feels like, no, she's found her victim and that's it, it's over.
Yeah, and whatever happens, because we know he must get out of or whatever influence she has on him must carry through the family, because the Dollhouse ended up with his great grandniece.
Yeah, but is it from her as well? I mean, I have to imagine she might have wanted his seed here. This is the purpose. It wasn't just the sex; it was for So,
So who is the child? Is it another member of this family, or is it something else entirely more akin to whatever we're seeing in the Dollhouse?
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And how did it get in there? And what this was one when we heard the solicits, I wasn't too keen on. But after getting through this, I'm like, oh no, this is interesting.
No, I agreed on the solicit. I think I remember being excited because of who was writing it.
Yeah.
More so than the concept itself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't think I like this as much as Basket Full of Heads. I think that was maybe more to my taste.
Yeah.
But
that's fair.
Same with the art. I think the art in Basket Full of Heads was better by a bit.
Yeah. This is fine though. Like it's not.
Oh, it
it's
works. So
not
what's what it's
bad.
doing? Yeah.
It's ominous when it needs to be. Like when she starts talking to the dolls at first,
Yeah.
and we know that they're telling her the names, but the mom just thinks like, oh, she's given them creative names already.
On the names, is there a lettering mistake? Because this was really weird to me. Because the first time, she's telling the mum the names, she says, the daddy is called Codwinner,
Right.
and it's like two separate words.
Mhm.
But then all the next time it's Cordwainer. Did she hear it wrong and then get corrected?
That's what I'm thinking, because it shows like when they go into the house that it's different. So it's clearly she wasn't naming them, is what I took from that.
No, but my problem was this was both before she went into the house. So the first time she said it, and then it was the very next page. It was, oh, where's Cordwainer? And I'm like, okay, did they correct her, or was it a weird lettering mistake, which feels particularly weird? But it threw me a little bit.
Yeah. I'm intrigued though. I think. I wasn't sure how I felt about it early on, but when it got to actually finding the Celestial, and I'm just calling it that for lack of a better word right now, and it got to the ending especially, the hammer ending really kind of sold me on, okay, this is going down a path that I wasn't necessarily expecting, that ending.
Like, tying in with this ancient being thing kind of wasn't the angle I was expecting at all.
No, me neither.
From what we were told about this story, so that actually made it a lot more interesting to me. So I'm quite into it. I agree, not quite as strong as Basket Full of Heads first issue, but solid, really solid.
So I'm coming back for the rest of this.
Yeah, me too. 2 for 2 on these Hill House books then. I will admit I did not read the backup 2 pages because it was 2 pages and it was overstuffed 2 pages. And I went, you know what, I'm good.
I might read it all at the end when it's all there, and I just read the whole story.
So I got real excited, right? This is flipping Werewolf Pirates.
Yes.
And I got there, and there was only 2 pages, and I got pissed. That's not a backup. That's a sneak preview.
Yeah, because I read the first batch of it, which was a bit more, it was like 4 or 5 pages the first time, and it read really awkwardly, and I don't really retain it as well when it's only that many pages. So I got to this 2 pages, like, I barely remember what the last time, like what was going on. All there was werewolves in a ship.
Wait, did I miss I missed part 1.
Yeah, part 1
never
showed up.
There was like 4 pages in the back of a Basket Full of Heads.
Yeah.
Which I didn't read those either because busy week, I think, and I just didn't get around.
That would make sense why I thought this was very not there. Mine didn't have it, so I got to go back.
Huh. Weird.
Yeah, my digital copy didn't have. I got to the end of it, and that was it.
They may have updated. Sometimes Comixology, if there's a mistake, they'll update it like a day later.
Yeah, maybe I downloaded it too soon.
Could be.
I'm going back now because I want these damn werewolves. Damn it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna wait and read it all at the end.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. No, it was good first show. What are you rating it, Matt?
I'm gonna give this an 8. I really, really liked it.
Car?
Yeah, I'm also giving it an 8.
I will also give it an 8. So Hill House is 2 for 2. From all 3 of us as well, which is cool.
Unusual. Yeah.